Hey Katie,
Hey Alex.
it's great to meet up with you here for another Mozart snapshot.
Thanks, it's great to see you too, as always.
So it looks like we're going to Schloss Mirabell,
You got it.
one of the most popular tourist spots in Salzburg.
That's right, and especially, of course, with American tourists, because right there in front of us is the very spot that famous Do-Re-Mi scene from The Sound of Music was filmed.
So I've heard. But long before being a setting for a Hollywood movie, it was the home of the Archbishop.
It was, however, it wasn't ever his official residence, because remember, that was across the river in the residence on Residenzplatz. However, Schloss Mirabell by Mozart's time had become the summer residence of the archbishops.
When was it built?
Wolf Dietrich von Reithenau, the archbishop, ordered its construction in 1606 because he wanted a place where he could come to meet his lover, Salome Alt.
Oh yes, the beautiful and notorious Frau Alt. Didn't the palace originally have a different name?
Yes, Lustschloss Altenau derived from Salome's family name because Wolf Dietrich had also elevated her to the nobility and given her the name Salome von Altenau.
So did Wolf Dietrich and Salome spend much time here?
I think they must have spent quite a bit of time because they had 15 children together here.
15 children?
That's right. You know, they were, by all accounts, extremely in love. And he had hoped to get a papal dispensation to marry her because remember, at this time, priests in England had been granted the right to marry by the Church of England. But unfortunately, the Pope did not grant it.
Schade. So why was the name changed to Schloss Mirabell?
Because, sadly, the happy days for Wolf Dietrich came to an end because during a military conflict between Bavaria and Salzburg, he was imprisoned by his cousin and successor Marcus Sidicus. And Marcus Sidicus, when he became Prince-Archbishop of Salzburg, then decided he wanted to rid this beautiful palace of its immoral reputation, so he renamed it Schloss Mirabell.
I would say, let's go inside.
Okay.
This staircase is an artwork in itself.
This is called the Marmorstiege or Donnerstiege, after the man who created it, whose name was Georg Raphael Donner.
Is it original from the 1600s?
It is original, but not from the 1600s. It was actually built between 1725 and 1727 when the entire Mirabelle Palace was rebuilt in a Baroque style by the Italian-born architect Lucas von Hildebrandt.
Most people will think this is Italian marble.
Well, actually, these figures in the corner are made of Untersberg marble, and the rest of this staircase is actually man-made marble, which was quite incredible for those days.
You don't think about them having imitation marble back then.
Exactly.
And wasn't there a major fire in here?
There was. In 1818, there was a gigantic town fire, and very large percentage of the Schloss Mirabell were destroyed. But luckily, by some miracle, this stairway, as well as the Marmorsaal that we're going to go see, escaped any major damage. So, voila, this is the Marmorsaal.
Yep. This hall is known to every Salzburger because people come here from all over the world to get married in here.
Yes, and what I've heard, they have to actually plan years in advance because it's booked out that far.
Ja, das stimmt. But I guess it wasn't used for weddings in Mozart's time, was it?
No, that is correct, because in Mozart's day, this was actually a banquet hall, and it was reserved for the important festivities of the Archbishop, which included regular court concerts that took place every year here in spring and summer.
Wolf had performed in these concerts?
Yes, because remember, dating back to 1772, he was the concertmaster of the Archbishop's court orchestra, and then, of course, later on, he was named dome organist, which meant that he was in charge of not only the organ playing in the Salzburger Dome, but also composing for all of the Archbishop's important festivities. And then even earlier, going back to Wolfgang's childhood, because of Leopold's influence, Wolfgang often composed for these kind of special concerts.
Wolfgang was lucky to have such a well-connected father.
He was indeed. But anyway, to get back to exactly what these concerts were, there was a tradition in Salzburg in which the university had year-end celebrations called Finalmusik. And each of the philosophical faculty would present a large orchestral serenade to celebrate the end of the academic year. And these would then be performed by the students as well as local musicians like Wolfgang.
And these Finalmusik serenades took place here?
Yes, there was always two performances. The first one took place here for the Archbishop because, due to his rank, he always had to be serenaded first. And then the second one took place back at the university in honor of the professors.
So, do we know exactly what Mozart played here?
Well, of course, when the whole Mozart family was at home in Salzburg, they weren't writing letters to each other. So unfortunately for us, we don't have a record of every single date that they played here. However, we can assume that Wolfgang and Leopold played here every year because these concerts took place for the Archbishop every year. However, there are a couple of dates and repertoire that we know very precisely.
When?
One was on Ascension Day, the 23rd of May, 1776, in which Mozart's Litany, K243, was performed. And another time was the 3rd of August, 1780, when Wolfgang and his sister Maria Anna, known to most of us as Nanel, also performed together here.
I was going to ask whether Nanel also played here.
Yes, because on this particular occasion, the two of them performed Mozart's Concerto for Three Pianos in a version that he had arranged specially for him and her to play on that day here, just for two pianos. And then along with that, they also played the Sonata in D major for four hands, K381, and Wolfgang topped it all off by sight reading some sonatas by Cambini.
What I've heard, you played here too a few times.
I have. I'm actually recording the entire piano sonatas and fantasies and other works of Mozart in this very hall.
So, how about playing something for me?
Sure, what would you like to hear?
Well, maybe Mozart?
Well, I think that could be arranged.
That was beautiful. Bravissimo, amazing. It has to be a special feeling to play here and imagine Wolfgang sitting right here at the keyboard.
You know, it's absolutely magical because somehow I can kind of imagine the ghost of Mozart in here.
This is indeed a very magical place. So close your eyes and let me show you something.